Hey everyone, Steve Jackson with Imprintables Warehouse, and another video today working with graphics in CorelDRAW. Getting a lot of requests for these lately, and people having difficulties with different items within the graphics and trying to figure it out. So doing a few series of videos to try and help make it clear for everybody by using actual examples that are out there in the field. We've got a graphic in front of us, and there's actually a number of issues going on here, and it's something we see time and time again, that around the lettering they're using a stroke or something like that. So if you use the three-step method that I've talked about in previous graphics, it doesn't really hit the edge of the line where you want it to. So what we're going to do is we're going to convert those over. So let's take a look first. We've got the graphic right here. I'll go and view it in wireframe, and you can see, well, let's zoom in so you can see a little bit better. Move in on this area here, and you can see the G and the R and the M and the O right here, and they've got these multiple lines coming out of it and everything. But if I look at it in wireframe, you will only see the inside portion of those letters. So it's not showing you everything that's there because it's actually using an outline. If I click on this guy here and I look at it down in the properties, it's got a fountain fill, and then it's got an outline of a black, a CMYK black right there. But the black doesn't show because it's a property of that object. It's got a stroke width, and it shows the stroke width over in here. It's 12.307 points, and it's that black color. But if I try to use a three-step method, which I'll hit F4 to zoom back out, and we'll go back to a normal view. Let's just do one, select everything on there, use the Create Boundary tool, 2 and 3. I'll right-click on my cut contour. If I zoom in on this guy, you'll see that, yeah, the cut line's there, but look, it cut into it, and I didn't get that portion out here, which is something that we really want to be able to get, even down in the mountain right there, too. It didn't get all of the outlines that were there because they weren't an object. That boundary tool works around objects, not properties of objects. So let's delete that guy. We don't need that anymore, and we'll hit F4 to zoom back out. Now I could go through and pick each one of these and say I'll grab that one there, and I could go to Arrange and convert outline to object, Control-Shift-Q, which is what you're going to use for this one. And I've got that one there. That one's good. I'm happy with the results, but I've got a lot more in here, and I'd have to sit there and kind of pick and choose and look through it. What I'll use instead is the Object Manager Docker. So let's go over to our Dockers, and I should have it open here. There's the Object Manager. And I can see in the graphic itself the different curves that I have, and that one down there, it's not a lettering, but it's a curve. It's been converted to curves from whatever font they had, and I can see it's got a fill of the CMYK green and then the outline color right there, and it's a 1.5 point. So sometimes what I'll do with these graphics, a little bit faster than trying to click through and pick the different pieces parts, is I'll just go through the Object Manager, and I've got that one selected. I can use my shortcut keys that I'm always talking about. Let's go over to Arrange, and I can see Convert Outline to Object, Control-Shift-Q. So I'll close that out and go back over to my Object Manager. I've got it selected there. And I want you guys to watch right down in here. I'll hit Control-Shift-Q. Oh, and I had selected inside of it. That was not very good. I'll select down again, Control-Shift-Q. And now you can see it created two objects, and now I've got the fill for the outline, which is not an outline anymore. It's an object, and the boundary tool will work on that. And then I've got the inner portion. So what I can do is use my down arrow on the keyboard and simply go through these, and anytime I see down here that it's got an outline, I'll simply hit Control-Shift-Q, and now it no longer has. Now a group of 8 objects here, I can see it's got that paw selected on the screen right in here, so I'm not going to mess around with that one. I think we're okay with that. I'm just looking more for the lettering portions. So we'll go down, I've got the graves here, Control-Shift-Q. Oh, that one didn't need it. It didn't have an outline. We'd already converted that one. So I can just do my down arrow through, and I can see this one needs Control-Shift-Q. And down to the next one, this one does too. Control-Shift-Q, and to this curve, that one's fine, this one's fine. And all the time I'm saying it's fine, I'm looking right down in here on this. So it looks like everything's been converted over. I don't have any more outlines around these. So let's try that boundary tool again. So we'll do 1, select everything that's in the design. I've got it all selected right there. 2, left click, I'll create the boundary around it. And number 3, I'll go over and right click on my cut contour tool, and let's zoom in and see if we got everything. And look at that. We've got the cut line going right outside the outline of everything here, and that's right where I wanted it. So pretty simple to work with there. But we've got one more issue in this graphic here that we need to address. Actually, I can see another one right here. Oops, let me Z. That was probably blinding you guys a little bit there. You can see how tight it is in here. Maybe I'll want to reevaluate that with the points and make it kind of cut across here and put an overlapping black there so they don't see that, because when the blade comes in, the blade's going to come into this portion, come down, and then jerk back, and you've got a little nib of stuff there. Should work fine, but sometimes we like to round things out so it's a little easier for the cutter to work with. So I hit F4 to zoom out, and what I'm looking at now with some potential fixes that I need to do, well, not really fixes, I just need to add a couple things, is the inside of the O here, the inside of the O there, the A here, the R there. I need a cut line, because that boundary tool just goes around the outside. It doesn't do the interior portions. So if I zoom in a little bit, I can see in there. What I'm going to do is use my Smart Fill tool right over on the side here. I'll click on the Smart Fill tool, and I get my options up top, the fill and the outline options whenever I have that selected. So I don't want any fill with this, so I'll do the drop-down menu and say no fill. And my outline, I'm going to specify it. It's a 0.5 point, or I could do hairline. Either one is fine for cut contour. Both work very well. And I'll pick my color here and use the eyedropper tool, and then come on over to my cut contour right here and select that. So now I can see that it's got that selected for the cut contour. And I've got this different looking crosshair that comes in here. I'll just go to the inside of the O, click on that, and as we zoom in, you can see that it's got that cut contour on the inside. So zoom back out. I'll go to the inside of the R right there, click that. I've got my cut contour on the inside, very nice. And where else do we need to go on this? Inside the O and the A here. So let's zoom in a little bit. We'll hit the inside of the A and the inside of the O, and right there inside in between the L and the O, hit that. And it looks like, go back to my select tool and hit F4. Looks like I've got a nice cut line around the outside of everything here. So a couple tools we used. We used the Create Boundary tool, as I've shown many times in different videos, to create a boundary going around the selected objects. I converted my outlines to objects. That works most of the time. Sometimes you have a font that isn't very rounded on the corners and you get an edge that pops out somewhere, and you'd be better off using the contour tool in that instance. But a lot of times the convert outline to object works very well. And then we use the Smart Fill tool to be able to fill into the inside of the O's there, the A and the R, and in between the L and the O. So hopefully this helped a bunch of you out there, and helps you speed up your process and get graphics done and on your printer quicker. And hopefully we'll see you at the next video. Thanks for stopping by.